Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. It came on too late for me to bring it to you, but let me tell you, we just had a complete deconstruction of the ineptitude of the Trump administration effected by Kamala Harris on all the news channels a few minutes ago, and I taped it while I was putting the final touches on the show today. I will have the entire interview process for you likely later on this afternoon, and I'll have it on the site for you all to see. But let me tell you something: if you have any doubt, if you have any fears, if you are at all concerned whether the ticket is up for the task of beating the holy you-know-what out of Brother Trump, let me tell you, fear not. The person that, when I saw Kamala, right, and by the way, let me be 100% frank here. I am a true, real, full, red-blooded progressive. Period. Punto y final. But there is a difference between progressivism and also knowing how to win. And that speech, that talk that I saw from Kamala Harris today proves one thing. It proves that we have the means to win. I tell you better, if she was at the top of the ticket, and she was going out there fighting, they would forget that this country is still a patriarchy. They would forget that this country is still sexist. They would forget that there is a hell of a lot of misogyny here. Because the power of that speech that she gave there superseded misogyny, superseded sexism, superseded patriarchy. Because at the point that she was making those points one after the other, in the way that she navigated that speech, one right after the other, there was no point for you to think this speech is coming from a woman. This speech is coming from a black Indian woman. This speech is coming from not a man. This speech is coming from a black woman. You had no time to think about that. She is going to be the spokesperson for that campaign going forward. If they don't do that, it will be political malpractice if they do not allow this woman to go out there and speak freely, because she's not only good at speaking, she's measured. In other words, there's something special about speaking when you're doing this kind of speaking, okay? There is something, the speech, hey John, the speech was on MSNBC, CNN, and all of them. I have it taped. I will have it processed, and I'll have it on my website later on today as well. But let me tell you what's going on here. When you speak, right, you have to speak in a manner. Whenever you're a political speaker, you have to speak in a manner that it's very hard for them to cut segments out and misrepresent what it means. In other words, if I say something like "God damn the Queen," and I just do it that way, and I leave a pause, and I say it, somebody can cut it in such a way that it sounds like I said "God damn the Queen." And by the way, I didn't invent this little thing here. But if I say "God damn the Queen enemies," it is hard to cut. So she even in her articulation of the words, it's going to be hard to cut pieces out that make it seem that she is somehow anti-whatever that the Trump administration is going to do. So I'm listening to that speech I made believe I was a Republican listening to that speech. Not a Republican, a Trumpist listening to that speech. And when I listened to it, I said, okay, this is the woman we want out there prosecuting the case over and over and over again. My God, it was good. My God, it was good. You forgot who you were watching, and you were focused on the message. And that is what you want that person representing that administration to be. Focusing on the message. And her message was, it did not have to be this way. We did not have to have a pandemic that was fatal or that was catastrophic to the American economy. We didn't have to have it where Americans are going to food lines. We didn't have to have it where Americans had to go to the, I say food lines, but I think it's not food lines. What do you call it again? To the food depot. What do you call it, guys? Not food lines, food depot, food, whatever. Anyhow, so we're going to get started with the program. Let's go ahead and get busy. But I tell you one thing. No matter what Trump does today, no matter what he does at the convention today, it's going to look silly. It's going to look menial. It's going to look the immaturity, the childishness of the things that he talks about. It's going to look silly next to what we have in the Biden-Harris ticket. My brothers and sisters, my mother called me yesterday. My mother said, she calls me Berto. Hey, Berto, do you think they're going to win? And I'm like, Ma. Pantry, thank you very much, Bruce. Thank you. Food pantry, thank you very much, Rachel. I said, Ma, we are going to win. And I told my mother this, and I'm going to get to the program, but I want those people that are here now, I want them to hear this. I want you to hear this. I told my mother, Ma, listen to me. I want people to stop worrying about whether we're going to win or not, Ma. Ma, I want you to look at, whenever you feel, are we going to win? I want you to pick up that phone and call a friend of yours who you know may not have gone to vote and tell them, hey, Ma, hey, guy, go vote. Don't sit down there and worry and fret. We have righteousness on our side. We have morality on our side. We have history on our side. We have all that is necessary on our side to convince the most conservative person that it is in their interest to vote for the Biden-Harris ticket. The thing that you have to do is go out there and not be concerned about being scared about pushing these values. Go out there and be as pompous and as sure that this is what is best for America when you go out there to tell people about it. And you know why you got to do that? Because when Trump is lying to you, you know why people kind of gravitate toward Trump? He displays a strength in the stupidity that he talks about. Even as he's saying junk, even as what he's saying makes absolutely no sense. He's out there, but he's selling it because he's a salesman, he's a patriarch, and I will save you. If you remember, I'm going to play that video again that I did yesterday with the voter who, when the reporter asked the voter, hey, what has Trump done for you? What has Trump done that makes you want to vote for him again? The woman says, she's thinking. I can't think of anything. But, he makes me feel secure. Why? And that is because over and over again, they're preaching, the Trump people, they're preaching, we are going to restore law and order. But the reply from the Democrats should not be, but we are not doing anything we agree with Trump. We are supposed to say, no, Trump is creating, he's destroying law and order. That is what Trump is doing. Trump is a criminal. Trump is a traitor. Trump has done this. You do not take the back seat. You do not take the defense. You go on the offense. Trump is destroying America. All the riots that you see in the streets are because of Trump and the latitude that Trump has given law enforcement, the latitude that Trump has given the theons of this society. And that is what we do. No scare, no fear, zero fear. I am not worried about losing at all. You know why? Because under this environment, if we lose under this environment, if we lose under what's going on, we don't deserve to hold power, and we deserve to remain mentally enslaved and enslaved by an economic system that he is promoting. So folks, no fear. Zero fear. Go out there, take it, go out there, win it. Whenever you feel fear, call somebody on the phone and say, remember, the voting period is here, and let them know when to vote. When you feel fear, call somebody. Make sure you know when it is a deadline for getting registered. Make sure you know when is the early voting starts. Make sure that you are telling people every day, hey, have you early voted yet? Go vote now. We are going to win this, not in a pitty tiny thing for a Supreme Court to decide, in a landslide that is uncorruptible. in a landslide, again, I repeat, in a landslide that is uncorruptible. That is how you do it. Morality is on our side. Everything is on our side because we are right. We are ethically correct. We are morally correct. We have the point of view, and we are the ones that are there for the American people. Do not forget that, and do not go there with a, we are what you need. No, no, no. We are what you need. We are the ones providing the support. We are the ones providing the policy. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the program. Joe Biden slaps Trump's message. Call them what they are: radicalized, Melania, and more. Joe Biden made it clear. This is Trump's America. Former Assistant FBI Director Frank Figliuzzi says the white gun-touting young men must be treated as radicalized, just like we treat everybody else. Joe Biden, in an interview today, pretty much destroys Trump by making it clear the disruption in America today is Trump's doing. So Joe is even doing his part. Mike Murphy has some good advice for Democrats that both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are already doing, but every politician must. What do I mean by that? Well, we'll talk about it when we do that. Nicole Wallace and Alicia Menendez destroy Melania Trump's speech. They put some reality into it. And former Assistant FBI Director Frank Figliuzzi says the white gun-touting young men must be treated as radicalized the same way we treat Muslims and otherwise who go out there and do evil things. Now, Mr. Notorious, let me welcome my people before I play my first video. It looked like we got a lot already. Michael Rudnin, welcome aboard AVQ. Breege MCP, welcome aboard. Let's see who else. Norman Reynolds, my brother. Bruce Pollard, my brother. Paul Fleming, my brother from ATL. And John Cotter. John Cotter, how you doing? Another great supporter of Politics Done Right. Bruce Pollard, great supporter of Politics Done Right. Norman Reynolds, great supporter. So all you guys are great supporters of Politics Right. Thank you so kindly, all of you. Michael Rudnin, great supporter of Politics Done Right. Lee Grant, Michael, let's see who else is here. Mike Cisak, Rachel Port, Eric Echevarria. Mira, hermano Eric, we spoke quite a bit in the Facebook group today. Thank you so kindly. I think our brother Eric Echevarria is a conservative. Let's welcome him into the fold because we love everybody here. Everybody is welcome at Politics Done Right. Sir, welcome aboard. I hope you stick around and, make yourself be heard. And we all talk. Mr. Notorious, do you acknowledge that Biden is a pedophile? No, I do not acknowledge that Biden is a pedophile. I know not that. And I think, we can go into those things. This person says that person says that. I tell you what, I respect everybody's thoughts. Anyhow, continuing. Let's see if I have to bring anybody else, Mr. Notorious. Mr. Notorious says, Notorious, stick around because we're going to talk a whole lot about all these things you're concerned about. Did I miss anybody? Paul Fleming? I don't think I missed you. Okay, let's get busy. We start with Joe Biden and the interview that he had. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side. Joe Biden is fighting back. Joe Biden, I think, is doing a great job in the way he's addressing all the lies and misinformation that's being put out by the Republican National Convention. Let's hear this, and we'll take it on the other side.
There's what's happening in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I know you reached out and talked to the family. Jacob Blake was never mentioned in any of the speeches at the Republican convention, not mentioned when the Vice President, Mike Pence, spoke last night. He also said that Joe Biden would double down on the very policies that are leading to violence in America's cities, adding that the hard truth is you won't be safe in Joe Biden's America. Your response to that?
He keeps saying, yeah, Joe Biden's America. Look, while running a video of Donald Trump's America, the problem we have right now is we're in Donald Trump's America. To quote Kelly Conway, she said, and I'm paraphrasing today, that they're looking for more violence and more disruption because it helps them politically. He views this as a political benefit to him. You know, he's rooting for more violence, not less, and it's clear about that. And what's he doing? He's kept pouring gasoline on the fire. This happens to be Donald Trump's America. This happens to be Donald Trump's America. Donald Trump's America. COVID is out of control. He's doing very little to be, he's not prepared, he didn't prepare for it, he hasn't responded to it, and he continues to be in a position where he does nothing to deal with it. We have 15 million people out of work. We have, 50 million, it just is amazing how, if you notice, they didn't speak about COVID, and they didn't speak about any of the reason why we're doing what's happening in Kenosha is happening. And by the way, I condemn violence in any form, whether it's looting or whatever it is. And by the way, when I spoke to the family, the mom was really incredibly straightforward. She said, "This is not who we are as a family. This is not who my son is. We condemn the violence." And so who's rooting for the violence here? And then you have, apparently, I don't have enough detail to make a final judgment. It looks like some of the militia folks were in there. A young man is a guy that shot 2 people. I mean, and where's the condemnation coming for that? So look, if I want to talk about safety, the biggest safety issue is all the people dying from COVID. Over 1,000 yesterday again. It's leveling off about 1,000 people a day. We're worse off than any other country in the world right now.
And that is, remember that. We are worse off than any other country in the world. It is important that people understand that. These are the messages that we need to put out there. They say, "Oh, we did great. I shut down China. I did this." It doesn't matter if you say you did this. The question is, why is the most advanced country in the world doing the worst? Are you saying you got conned by China and that China could do it better than you could? That Australia can do it than you could? It's funny because somebody sent me a message that said, "Hey, we definitely need to have women on the tickets all over because all the countries ran by women are doing much better than anybody else with this COVID-19. They are doing notoriously well." Hey, Mr. Notorious, that is for you. So let's be clear here. All the other countries in the world is doing better than the United States of America. Ask yourself why. Who is in charge? How can that happen? Under the Obama-Biden administration, there was 2 potential pandemics that never got realized because of good management. The Ebola, we went overseas to fight it before it got here. And when it came to N1H1, which originated here in the United States, we made sure to do the necessary types of isolation. So when you look at the evidence out there, do not allow them to spin anything. We have 180,000 plus Americans dead. And under Obama, we had, I don't remember, fit on one hand how many people died. Let's start being reality-based. Reality-based. Do not allow a spin, period. Do not allow a spin. Speak it as it really is. We don't even have to lie. They have to twist things to make it seem like they are competent. Remember, I want to tell you guys other things. There are other messages that we need to put out there as progressives. Every single time this country has been turned over to the right for the last 40-something years, Democrats have had to come in and clean up the mess. After Bush won and the economy went into that slide from Reaganomics, which Reaganomics was nothing but an inflation, what I call Keynesian economics on steroids. And what do I mean by Keynesian economics on steroids? The way they inflated the economy was going completely against what they believe. They expanded going ahead and spending a lot of money to take care of to increase defense. They increased a whole lot of stuff. And at the same time, they cut taxes, which meant there's a hell of a lot of money flowing in the economy. And that was a sugar high. Under Reagan, we got a sugar high. Then came Bush, where the sugar high subsided. We went into recession. And when Bush then said, "Oh, I had to go against his promise to raise taxes," which was the right thing to do, and Clinton took over, we had a booming economy that superseded what Reaganomics did, which was nothing more than a flaw, right? But here's the funny thing about it. So we had Clinton recover that economy. And by the way, I speak about that in my book, as I see it. I gave exactly the numbers and how the calculations that you need to make that everybody can understand exactly how this was done. So Clinton had to come in and clean up. Then we had Bush #2 take over and won the election. Destroy an economy that had zero debt. Zero deficit, rather, not debt. Zero deficit. Comes back again, destroys the economy. We had the meltdown in 2008. Here comes Obama. Another Democrat had to come into office to clean up the mess. You give Donald Trump a flourishing economy. We give another Republican a flourishing economy. And what happens? He pushes it right down into the ground again. I mean, we have to be able to, put it this way. If Republicans were the one telling this story, they would be a lot much better at it than we are. But we are scared to say, we come in to clean up your mess. I don't hear that on the campaign trail. We come in. Democrats come in to clean up the mess. Why? Because we are fiscally responsible. Well, you say, but you spend a lot. Yes, we do. But we are fiscally responsible. You spend a lot too, but you don't want to pay for what you spend. We are fiscally responsible. That's why the deficit goes down under Democrats and goes through the roofs under Republicans. The numbers are there for all to see. Look it up. And one of the problems I have with Democrats is they completely fail to tell the story with gravitas by saying, this is the reality, people. This is what happens. We must start doing that. Folks, if you're just joining us, please remember to share these programs because we need to empower ourselves. We need to let folks know, a lot of times we sit back because we have the right that's generally very pompous. They're pompous in telling their lies. They're pompous and misrepresented. They're pompous in doing all these things. We cannot allow that to continue. Okay, the second video that I want to show all my brothers and my sisters here that are listening to me right now, let's go ahead and talk about what Mike Murphy had to say. And Mike Murphy has an important message to tell. Republican Mike Murphy, who is now on the Democratic team, just enough to get rid of Trump, but he'll be back as a Republican again. But check this out. Mike Murphy, a Republican strategist, had a short interview with Andrea Mitchell today that I think it is important to see. Democrats need to heed some of what he has to say because remember, Republicans know how to win with a much smaller base and with policies that simply are not the policies needed by most Americans, but they win. And how do they win? They know how to do the narrative. Listen to what he has to say, then we'll take it on the other side.
My best bet is that all of the reporting, all of us saying this is unprecedented, it violates law, practice, tradition, Mike Pompeo in Israel, that's not what's going to reach the Trump voters or the swing voters. That they're going to make their decisions on other issues. On the coronavirus, whether what they see is very different from the way Mike Pence described the president's response, and the economy.
Yeah, look, I'm hugely offended by it. Trump crushes norms everywhere. We're going to have to steam clean the White House after he's gone. But, writing speeding tickets on the way to a bank robbery, I don't think is a Democratic path. The issues that beat Trump are kitchen table. He screwed up COVID and he ruined the economy. If you want to be poor for 5 years, reelect him. And, it's tempting to get all excited about all his transgressions, but winning campaigns stay on the attack on issues people care about in their everyday lives. And I think as tempting as it is to go off and shame Trump for all his terribleness, some of that's built in to people's perception. You got to convince people that Trump being reelected is not in their personal interest.
Do you see how he created that simple phrase that everybody can understand with COVID, with being poor for 5 more years? Think about that. That was so simple, but everybody understands that. Yes, Trump does a whole lot of bad things. He violates this particular law. He violates it. But Americans don't really know a whole lot about that. That is something that those of us that are politically inclined know very well. But what he just said in its simplicity is what we have to learn to do, what we must do. And I think Joe Biden has started to do it. He said, this is Trump's America. Do you like it? He just said that in a recent interview. I think we better heed it, not only for the presidential, but for all levels of candidates running right now. Keep it simple and make it bread and butter and show how in your particular race you are going to help that person in your district, that person in your county, every single American citizen. Absolutely. So Mike Murphy, I remember using in the past just loving to hate Mike Murphy, but Mike Murphy knows how to win. I hate to say that, but he knows how to win. And the good thing is, if for right now, given that we know that Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to the country, actually a clear and present danger to the world, it is important for us to get allies of all stripes to go ahead and join the team to make sure that we win. And like I tell everybody here, those that are just coming in, hey folks, if you're just joining us, please do remember to share. That is how we get to do things, and that's how we are able to do all that we need to do. I have one more piece to play for you. Let me see if I play. Let me play this one now. This is Nicole Wallace and Alicia Menendez deconstructing the speech from the First Lady, because I think every now and then we cannot allow an inch. Listen to what I'm saying, folks. Do not allow an inch of goodness. Let's remember that the First Lady was a birther, okay? And there's nothing magnanimous about the First Lady. Absolutely nothing magnanimous about the First Lady. You look at a Jill Biden. You look at Michelle Obama. You even look at Bush's wife. Not Barbara Bush, but Bush's wife. These are good women. I mean, I don't agree with any one of them 100%, but these are women that have really wanted to do positive things for society. That ain't Melania. That ain't Trump. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything regarding the Trump administration. The Trump administration altogether are Laura Bush. Thank you very much, Michael Rednan. Altogether, they're just grifters. Period. Nada más. Eso lo único que son. Toman, toman, toman. They take. That's all they are. Let's remember that. These people are not good people. They intend to rob Americans blind. And that is a message we have to get over to America, because that is a true factual message. True factual message. Here is what Menendez had to say, both Nicole Wallace and Miss Menendez. After Melania Trump gave her speech, a lot of the news media, even some of the mainstream media, the progressive, supposedly liberal mainstream media, actually gave it positive reviews. She deserved none of it. You do not give lying speeches positive reviews, no matter how well spoken or how well written. Well, Nicole Wallace and Alicia Menendez on MSNBC completely deconstructed that. Check it out.
I think basically it is what it is, I don't care. They don't care about Russia meddling in the 2016 election, He said he didn't do it, and I believed him, Donald Trump told us. I mean, they're making a big gamble that people don't care about living in a democracy.
There's the gamble that people don't care. I also think there's the gamble that you can distort reality, right? That you can have Melania Trump get up and give this speech where she's trying to round off all the president's edges, try to erase some of his racist past, when she herself has made racist birther statements against the former president. She's going to get up and school America's parents about being responsible with their children on social media, when her husband uses social media to bully and intimidate countless Americans. She's talking about her own legal path to citizenship, when her husband is actively working to cut that same path to citizenship for so many other Americans. I mean, I, as you were, was completely struck by that naturalization ceremony inside the White House, where on one hand, the president's hoping you will watch the optics of this, right? Watch these 5 people are going to get to become U.S. citizens, and ignore the fact that you have about 500,000 people who are in a backlog waiting themselves to become U.S. citizens, who probably won't be able to do that in time for November, won't be able to become voters. He's hoping that you ignore the fact that he has made radical changes to asylum in this country, changing the actual moral fabric of America, ignoring the fact that he ended the DACA program, ignoring the fact that there are thousands of migrant children who were separated from their parents. And so part of the gamble, to your question, is whether or not people care. part of the gamble is in imagining that you can put forward an entirely different, inaccurate, lie-riddled view of your own record 4 years into your administration.
Alicia, you're on fire. Let me show you this from Melania. Donald is the husband who supports me in all I do. He has built a demonstration with an unprecedented number, I guess administration, with an unprecedented number of women in leadership roles. Donald Trump, based on reporting in the New York Times and the Washington Post, wrote checks, hush money checks, to cover up an affair with a porn star. Donald Trump is a man who's been accused of sexual misconduct by 19 women and counting. Donald Trump supported Roy Moore, who ran for the Senate after being accused of having sexual relations with very young children. I mean, to hold Donald Trump out as someone who has built an administration with an unprecedented number of women in leadership, I mean, there's audacity, and then there's just, as you said, the outright distortion field, Alicia.
I gotta say, the speech doesn't have the same effect when you deliver it, Nicole. I think there's just a bet here that the messenger is strong enough, right? That you will disregard all of those facts. I mean, we had a lot of those facts going into 2016, Nicole, and there were voters, there were specifically a lot of suburban women who chose to ignore those facts. I think it is telling that this time, when you look at the numbers of suburban women, the thing that they are most rankled by is this president's handling of the coronavirus, which you had Larry Kudlow talking about last night in the past tense. They're rankled by the way in which he has not met the moment when it comes to the protests we've seen across this country calling for racial equality. And they are living day to day the reality of the mishandling of this pandemic. They are living the fact that they need to be mother, caretaker, teacher, and then a vast majority of them also have to do their paid job. And so that reality, that day-to-day reality, is undeniable and will likely play a larger role in their decision going into November than a lot of what you rightfully laid out at the beginning of this question.
Two independent, intelligent women deconstructing Melania Trump's speech away from the ridiculous statements made by so many other organizations about this speech being so good. No, it was not. It was a performance, and it was a performance that actually pretty much disregarded the intellect of the people who were listening to the speech. Thank you, Nicole Wallace. Thank you, Alicia Menendez. Absolutely. Thank you to all these wonderful women who again, intellects. They deconstructed, a lot of the other networks that I saw. Oh, she was so nice. She put some humanity into Donald Trump. That's impossible. That is impossible. You can't put humanity into somebody like Donald Trump who cares nothing but himself. You can't. If you take a look at what all the kids went up there and said, there's nothing touching or personal that any of those kids had to say about Donald Trump. I watch my friends' kids on Facebook or whatever. They whether poor, rich, middle, or whatever, they always show that instinctive love for parent. You couldn't see that when his kids with him, because we know who he is. Anyhow, before we go any further, folks, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can help our program by clicking on that little $ at the message box and give us a super chat so you can support the program. And by the way, that book that you see on the screen, for those of you who are listening on podcasts, it's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. I mean, you won't convince them all, but you'll convince enough and you'll plant seeds into people's minds. I discuss that a whole lot in this book. I also give some of my own shortcomings and how I overcame many of my shortcomings that when placed into that can help others do the same. And not only that, it humbles you to others, and in humbling you to others, allow others to open up and open their minds to say, let me see if there is some validity to that. So please consider getting that book. In fact, please get the book. Support the show by getting the book. It's I just put the link in the screen, but you can always go to politicsdoneright.com /store, or just go to Amazon and look it up and you'll find it. We want to make a difference in this election. And what we're telling people is, once we secure our base at the same time that we expand our base. Some people want this to be just a base election. No, I want Mike Cisak. I want Ledo. I want Eric. I want all these guys that are conservatives to actually look at what we really stand for, and not the caricature that the people that are informing them tell them we stand for. Because when they see that, and when they are able to internalize that and see what it does to their families, then that seed is planted for them to open it up. Now, more than anything else, though, however, we need subscribers to our program. How can you subscribe to our program? You can subscribe to our program by going to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. I just placed that into the feed, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. You can also support us via PayPal, and that is politicsdoneright.com, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Alternatively, Facebook has started to allow us to do membership just recently. You can go to politicsdoneright.com/Facebook. That is politicsdoneright.com/Facebook. And of course, shop at our store. When you shop at our store, any kind of profits go towards the program as well. You just go to politicsdoneright.com/store, where you can get things like that book that you see on screen. It's worth it. How can talk to right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors? And you can get our cup that says Politics Done Right. We have cups that also say, I support independent media. You can get our book, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. And for all of you who know that, hey, I've had weight problems and I've overcome it over the last several years by doing it my way. And this says you can do it your way too. Lose weight and be fit now, among the other books that I have. Please consider going to politicsdoneright.com/store to get books, t-shirts, labels, all that good stuff there, because that helps our program. That allows us to continue. Most of all, if you can become a member, I would really love that you help us out by becoming a member at politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. I want to give you another video here. This one is an important video because, as you know, during all these things that are occurring, you see the clashes on. You see these clashes that are occurring in these fights, in these protests. What you have, I showed you what one of our members sent, a message that said, hey, there are these messages going around on Facebook that's telling people to go out there with the AR-15s, and when they go out there with these guns, don't just be there as spectators. If you have to use it, use it. I got that in fact, I told you guys about that message recently. And the funny thing about it is thereafter, we have this young thug, the 17-year-old guy, I can't remember his name now, goes out there and kills two people and shot. But you know, the worst part, I want to show you something in a video. And the reason I was going to do another video, but I want to show you this video. Let me get to my page here, my wall. Because when I saw the video, it really upset me. And let me tell you why it upset me. It upset me because that guy just walked around and nobody did anything. I'm putting that up on the screen right now. Let's see if I can get to it. I want to get a bigger one. Let's see if I can get it a little bigger than that. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it bigger. But let's start it here. I want to show you this. Check this out. What do you do? Get his ass! What I want you guys to see is notice this guy with an AR-7 AR-15 walking. The cops are going to do absolutely nothing. Check this out. Here's a guy running with a gun. He's running with a gun. Check him out at the officers.
Hey, he just shot them. Hey, dude right here just shot them. Dude right here just shot all of them down there. That dude just shot them right there. That dude right here. Here.
They're telling the cops that guy has a shotgun and he's just killed 2 people. And check them out. Watch what he does. He's hands up, hands on the gun. The cops passed this guy with an AR-15. Nobody arrests him. Check that out. It's there for all to see. They are after the peaceful protesters. And watch him walk with an AR-15. Look at the truck. He's gone. That is America. And we tell people this over and over. Some people have the privilege to do that. Others can't. Others can't. There it is. It proves everything. I also have videos on my page that show them just giving him water. Just giving him water. You know, these are violent people coming in to infiltrate protests from messages they saw on the on their Facebook pages that says, go out there and kill. Okay? And no, Lee Grant, this is not a spin. There's no reason for this guy to run out of Illinois to come here and about protecting other people's property. Protected from whom? Why don't he protect the people who the police are slaughtering? He's not going to do that, right? Because as long as it's some people getting slaughtered, the people that need protecting are the ones who are trying to protest against the slaughtering of others, right? Come on, man. Let's be real, my friends. So that is the real story. That is the real story. This is not about self-defense. Let me tell you what this is about. Look at the hero. You see this guy here? That's our hero. That's who was murdered. This guy here, I want you to see it. That white brother, he was murdered by that vigilante. This guy was marching in the Black Lives Matter movement. And he is our hero who was killed. So let's not believe anything you hear from the right about, oh, he was protecting the right. It's all crap. The reality is there are good people out there. And this brother out there, what's his name? I forgot his name. Brother Anthony Uber. Make that be in your mind. Brother Anthony Uber. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the movement for you died, and we won't let your death and the death of a myriad of others be in vain. We won't allow that to occur. Let me show the last video that I want to show you before I start answering questions. So let's go ahead and do that. Para ver. Check this out, because this FBI director gets it and hit the nail on the head. Check this out. Former FBI Assistant Director Frank Figliuzzi advises how to solve a very important problem that is attacking our country right now, that's making it very unstable. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
We're asking the question, what motivated this 17-year-old to drive across state lines with a rifle, and that he believed he needed to help law enforcement in a town that was not his?
Yeah, Katie, we're going to watch a very thorough investigation take place with a complete examination of his social media. But what we're seeing so far is very similar to the process that we see with Islamic violent jihad radicalization. This wanting to belong to a cause greater than yourself, wanting to get affirmation from a group who may not even know who you are or ever met you, and then feeling like you're part of this deployment, this cause. You heard him on the clip you played say, it's my job to protect this. No, it's not your job, but you think it is. And video last night shows him walking around, roaming around with the assault rifle, not really doing much of protecting anything. I would assert, Katie, that it's time we stopped using the word troubled with regard to white young people who act out like this, and start thinking about the radicalized term that we used when people of color or people of Islamic faith act out like this. This is a radicalization process that's happening. It happened with the El Paso shooter in Texas. We kept hearing he was troubled. No, he was radicalized, and it's happening online.
Could he had been more honest? Frank Figliuzzi, let me tell you something. We need to have more people speaking up, because that, absent that, we're going to have a whole lot more bad things happen like happened in the streets recently. So folks, let's listen to what he has to say, and let's talk to our politicians to ensure that that exactly happens. Exactly right. Exactly right. Anybody who wants to call us, give us a 346-248-7799. The code is 254-600-9091. Again, the telephone number is 346-248-7799. The ID to get in, 254-600-9091. Okay, let's go to, whoa, a lot of messages here. Para ver. Let's go ahead. Let me see. I'll start from. Let me see where I'll start from. Where do I start from? I guess I better start from the top. But before I start from the top, let me see if I have any new people to call out to say hi to. Lee Grant, I don't think I said hi to you yet. So welcome aboard, Lee Grant. I don't have any. Oh, we've had over 100 and something messages. You guys are wonderful. Curtis, welcome aboard. Curtis Jacobs, welcome aboard. Rose Williams, welcome aboard. Okay, I think I got everybody else. Okay, let me go ahead and see if there are messages that I need to read. And don't forget, folks, if you want to call in, 346-248-7799, code 254-600-9091. Hey, Norman, welcome aboard, fellow survivors. Yes, Michael Rudden and I survived the hurricane. We got lucky that the hurricane veered a little bit more to the east, and by going to the east, we only got minimal wind. But I feel the pain that they're feeling in Louisiana. The good thing about where it actually landed is that it was in less than a part of Louisiana that's very populated. The biggest city it hit during the real strong winds was Lake Charles, which has about 78,000 people. But so it's not as bad as it could be. I think there are only 5 deaths so far compared to what has happened. If it had hit Houston, the entire American economy would have suffered immensely, and the amount of people that would have died would have been crazy. So a lot of people, so very, very good. But anyhow, continuing. Let's see. It was good to have 2 less school days. Bruce Pollard. All right, Bruce, I hear you, buddy. Hi, Egberto. Yeah, I'll have the speech for you, John Cutter. Let's see. Bruce says, I'm a moderate who wants us to come together to make the best country for everyone. I think we all agree with that, Bruce. Well, most of us agree with that, Bruce. I think most of us agree. The establishment Democrats have an easy time talking about social issues. They have supermajority support while not touching their corporate masters' bottom line. Well, we are going to have to touch the corporate masters' bottom line, because it's not the corporate masters' bottom line, Rudden. You see, we have to change our vocabulary. It is our bottom line. We are the ones who provide the service, the intellect, and the product. And they are the ones who monopolize on it based on the way our economic system works. That is a transformational change that we have to make. We have to make sure that workers are considered a part of what's called the stakeholders, of more value than the shareholders who are but putting their capital to work for them, nothing more. We have to diminish capital and increase humanity. When they have taught us that capital is more important, it is our job to teach that humanity is more important than capital. When we get that across, we'll have a different society. Lee Grant says Trump gets a bump after the Democratic convention. Dems poll lower over national violence. Look, the reason that may be true, Lee Grant, not may be true, that is probably true. People are scared. If you have somebody saying, hey, they're going to kill you, what we have to remind everybody is all this stuff is occurring under the Trump administration. And guess what has started to happen? Democrats are starting to push back without fear. Remember, if you saw from the beginning of the program today, that's what I'm talking about. Be relentless, be fearless. If people ever detect a bit of fear in you, they go for the strength. Don't forget that, Democrats. Don't fear being strong. Don't fear being unabashedly progressive. Don't fear telling Americans what if they elect you, you will do for them. because there are more people who want what you have to offer than what the Republicans want to take away from you. Eric Echeverria says Biden-Harris has the looting and burning of cities going for them. No, I think that is occurring under Trump. It's not occurring under, listen, the looting and burning is occurring under Trump. Let's get that straight. We don't know what's occurring under Harris and Biden. The looting, the job losses, and the pandemic occurred under Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been in office almost one entire term. Are you saying that in one term he could accomplish nothing? He tanked the economy and killed 180,000 Americans. Do not put that on Biden-Harris. That occurred under Trump. And anybody listening now, that's a good thing about the speech that we heard from Kamala Harris today. She doesn't allow that message to come across from Eric Echeverria. Eric Echeverria has drunk the Kool-Aid. No, the burning of the cities occurred under whom? Trump. The pandemic occurred under whom? Trump. The destruction of the economy occurred under whom? Trump. Let's make that very clear. Let's have something else that is clear. Trump is doing to America what he has done to every single one of his companies. Bankrupt them. We have to put the message out. Trump is not doing anything he doesn't do all the time. Trump is doing exactly what he has always done to America. Bankrupt his companies, bankrupt America. Come on, folks, let's get real, please. Now, I am talking about Trump. I'm not talking about my conservative brothers and sisters. I'm talking about Trump. I love my conservative brothers and sisters, and I want to bring them on board, period. Okay, CSEC, the pandemic is just that, but it was the state of governors in most blue states that locked down their... No, if you take a look at it, we warned the red states that the pandemic was coming their ways. The cosmopolitan cities got hit first because they are just that, cosmopolitan cities where people from all over the world come in. As the rest of the country migrate, when we told the red states, hey, you got to tamp down, wear your mask, do this, they said no, and that's why the pandemic is worse in red states now. It's simple. This is not rocket science, people. Okay, let's see what else I need to answer real quickly because we're coming down to close. I'm going to go to the bottom now and then start going back up because people are starting to still write. Okay, Trump accomplished a lot. Ballooned the debt, created corporate socialism, wealth inequality spike, division of the nation through marginalizing already oppressed minorities. Couldn't have been said any better, Michael Rudnin. Let's see. Michael Rudnin also says, I think cause of polling numbers is the Democrats are pushing gun control regulations during a time of unrest. Gun nuts worried about... I get you. Rose William, good to hear that you are all right there. Yes, we are. Thank you very much, Rose. Rudnin says, Egberto, you pick a topic that rifles up the reactionaries. You get a lot of messages as we argue in futility. No. Let me tell you something, Michael Rudnin. This is not a futile argument. That's real time. We always have a constancy of anywhere between 50 to 150 to 200 people listening in real time on all the different platforms. I'm talking about at any given time. That actually is several thousand because what happens is people would listen for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then come off. They may listen for 2 minutes, come off. And they hear different messages as we speak. But when this stuff goes into podcasting, we get tens of thousands of people listening. So this is not futile. And we convinced other people. So please, all your messages, all these things, you must continue to put it there. Don't think that that because there are several people in here that continuously disagree with you, that your message is futile. It is not. You're talking to a lot of people, and you are very successful in doing so because you have people listen. I have the numbers, so please feel free to realize that. Dimitri OG, mi hermano mío, says, what was Pelosi thinking to say Biden shouldn't debate Trump? She said the quiet thing out loud. You know what? I think Biden, I said that before as well, Dimitri. The reason I said that is trying to debate Trump is in the type of debates that we have says things like Trump goes out and he says his message out there. Biden gets a chance to respond for it's sort of silly, but I don't think I said that in passing. Realistically speaking, I think you have to debate. So you're right in that respect, Dimitri, but I wish debating Trump is futile because he's just a lying machine and he'll just start lying. So anyhow, Lee Grant says, Egberto's spin on this insane. No, sir. I am not spinning. Michael Rudden says, white privilege. If a black man did the same, how many seconds until the cops open fire? And that's the thing. If that guy was a black guy running with an AR-15, he would not have made it past the first vehicle. He would have been shot dead. We see that holding somebody by the T-shirt, you still can get a whole bunch of bullets in your back. I mean, it is, for those people who refuse, willful ignorance is an interesting thing, right? You have to be willfully ignorant to not say there's a disparity in the way different people are treated by the police officers. Luckily, most of my white brothers and sisters in this room realize that. There are some who, again, willful ignorance, refuse to do so. I can't help that. All I can do is continue to do what I have to do for us to do what's best for our society. All right, let's see. Any more new messages? Lawrence Sim says, Donald is pimping, and we will see just how hard tonight when he's not out checking on people. He took an oath to serve and protect. Joe said, fact check live, which he said he would not do with Hillary. Looking at the footage, Echeverria said, looking at the footage, you can see only Rittenhouse shooting to defend himself. Rittenhouse, that was one shot after he had killed 2 people, sir. They were running after him because he killed 2 people, or 1 person. And then that person that he had with the skateboard, that young hero that I showed on the screen, he also killed him. Come on. Echeverria, I don't know, with a name like Echeverria, yo pienso que eres un latino. No sé qué clase de latino eres, hermano. Pero si tú no sabes que la gente te trata diferentemente siendo latino, no sé qué está en la mente, señor. No sé qué está en la mente. Anyhow, continuing this with our topic, sir. Let's continue. Let's continue. We only have 2 minutes here. Actually, we don't have minutes. Well, I tell you what, I already gave my pitch. All I want to ask is one more time. Folks, we need patrons. We need people to subscribe to our program. So please go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon. Mira, señor. Well, I won't go there at all. I'm not going to bother with that. You and I can talk on an individual basis. In fact, I'd love to have a phone conversation with you, Mr. Echeverria, because I think I can actually get to you based on some statements you've made inside of the in our thing. You're a good person, Mr. Echeverria. You're a good person. If you want to support us, then go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Politicsdoneright.com/Patreon to support us. Please alternatively support us at PayPal. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. And don't forget to shop at our store. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/store, where you can get our books, our cups, our T-shirts, our labels, everything. Look, folks, I appreciate your ears. I love all of you. I love that I have both progressives, moderates, conservatives, right-wingers, Tea Partiers here, because as long as we're talking to each other, it means that, we can actually make progress. Some people don't believe that, right? Some people don't think that. I'm an eternal optimist. Eternal optimist. So, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel. And please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.